Joining us now with more, Dana Loesch, host of Dana on the Blaze TV, and Richard Fowler, a Fox News contributor now, yay, and nationally syndicated radio talk show host. Great to have you both.
It's good to be here, Megan.
Let's talk about this. Now, the thing with Brazil, I mean, I'll tell you this, as a debate moderator myself, I cannot imagine anyone at CNN ever leaking a question to anyone. I mean, it would be the height of unethical. I can't imagine it. And yet the question, you know, as asked, and what was in that email, Dana, was almost verbatim.
It's a remarkable coincidence, isn't it, Megan? The thing is I'm with you. I mean, I can't imagine someone leaking it, but at the same time, it's Occam's razor. You can't sit here and deny the obvious. The question was almost identical to the one that was asked at the town hall, and it's not beyond the realm of possibility to think that perhaps maybe Donna Brazile was able to obtain this question in advance. And then, of course, I mean, she's the head of the party. She's going to pass that off to the party's nominee, Hillary Clinton.
But she was a Democrat. She wasn't the head of the party then, but she was a Democrat.
No,
but, you know,
not
Richard,
then, but she did become it.
Just for kicks, I Googled the language, and it does pull up the Equal Justice Initiative, which has almost exactly the same language, saying since 1973, 156 people have been released from death row after evidence of their innocence was uncovered. So this may be boilerplate language that, you know, death penalty opponents have on their websites. We don't have proof to show collusion.
We don't, Megan, and let me tell you, let me be very frank on this one. I know Donna Brazile very, very, very well, and there's no stretch of the imagination that Donna would ever do anything like this, which is the reason why the party chose her to be the interim chair after the leak with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So I dismiss this on face just based on the reputation that Donna Brazile has to both me and many people watching tonight. But additionally, to a larger perspective, right? So there's this argument constantly pushed by the Trump campaign that we saw on the bump into this segment of the media being so crooked and being so awful and being so tainted. But if you look at the numbers, Megan, Donald Trump has got more earned media than any candidate in recent history.
But he wants it to be favorable. He wants it to be favorable coverage.
But here's the thing. Any press is good press, is what you learn in journalism school, right? And number two, and I think the most important point is if the liberal media had so much power, why is it that Republicans still have control of the Congress, they still have control of the Senate? If the media, quote unquote, hated George Bush, but he won in 2000, he won in 2004.
Go ahead, Dana. Respond to that.
Yeah. Well, of course, you know, we don't have the White House, unfortunately, and I think we've been fighting in spite of media bias.
That's your fault, Dana, not ours.
There is. No, it's not actually, in fact. Come on, Richard. No, there's absolute media bias in network media. You know that as well as I do. There's also left outlets and right outlets that are both equally biased. But here's the thing. We've had network news and we've had major publishers of newspapers, etc., that have been biased for a long time. There is absolute proof of media bias. We know this. And it's not just against Trump, Megan. Media has been biased against Republicans, period, for such a long time. The whole vast right-wing conspiracy, everything that we've seen from the Wikileaks emails or the document dumps so far. I mean, we know that there's a bias here. I mean, for crying out loud, we had George Stephanopoulos back in 2012 during the debates insert that answer about birth control, which then flipped the entire general election cycle to become this whole war on women narrative, which was crazy.
There's no question that most of the people in news lean left, and that there's a liberal bias baked in. I mean, the news tends to be young. It has to be a bunch of young people.
Yeah,
they tend to be
left-leaning.
But they can at least be objective. But just, you know, the interesting thing about John Harwood's tweet, can I tell you this, is that he tweeted that, you know, that stuff about Trump right at a couple weeks after Trump was doing the thing with the belt buckle and Ben Carson, and his conduct was extremely controversial and in the news in Republican circles and Democrat circles.
Yeah.
And you just never know. I mean, you don't know whether he's got the same kind of emails to Marco Rubio's campaign, to Ted Cruz's campaign. We only have a snippet of the perspective here. So in defense of my fellow journalists, great to see you both.
Thank you,
Good to see you, Megan.